Hi guys, Bolts96 here, but the O is a 0, and I have spent a lot of time looking at all of the big transfer rumours for all of the Premier League teams. And in this video, I am picking one of those rumours, one of those players for each team who I think will be their best transfer if that rumour pans out. Now, I'm not just looking at who will be the best player your team could sign, I'm also looking at it from a financial perspective, whether your team can afford it, whether that player suits the system, whether that player is exactly the position that you need to fill. So there's a number of different aspects I've looked at. It's going to be a bit of a mixed bag. Hopefully it's going to be an interesting one, so make sure to stick around to find out who I think will be the best transfer your club could sign from all the rumours. Arsenal, João Cancelo. He may not be the most likely transfer, and central midfield obviously seems to be the priority at the minute based on the Declan Rice pursuit, but I do think this will be the best one for Arsenal to make this season. They don't have the best fullback situation. Other than Zinchenko, they have Tierney, who is always injured, Tomiyasu, who didn't have a strong season, and White, who isn't an out-and-out right back. Getting in a top-level player who can play right back and covering at left back if needed, he'd be an excellent addition to the squad. Whether Man City will sell to Arsenal after Zinchenko and Jesus nearly helped them win the league is definitely a question to consider, but if they are willing, this will be a great move for Arsenal. Aston Villa, Marco Asensio. Aston Villa do have quite a few options in the wing positions, but this is Marco Asensio we are talking about. This will be an absolute coup for Villa if they can bring him in, and would be an improvement on the options that they currently have. Some could argue whether it will be another Coutinho sort of signing, but I don't think so. I think Asensio would work really, really nicely under Emery, and considering he would be on a free transfer, they haven't got much to lose in getting him in. Bournemouth, Robin Gosens. When I read this rumour, I won't lie, it did surprise me. I feel like Gosens is a player who should be playing for a team in European competition, but nevertheless, he is rumoured with Bournemouth, and if they could pull that off, it would be a perfect signing for them. Fullback is definitely their weakest position on the pitch, so to get a player in of Gosens' ability and experience would be a real boon. They are heavily linked with midfield replacements for Lerma, which I do also think is a must, but their biggest rumour in that position is Alex Scott, who does look like he has promise, but he's unproven. I think they need proven quality to come into the team, and Gosens in fullback would be that. Brentford, Victor Gyökeres. First things first, apologies if I'm butchering that name. Brentford have made a couple of transfers already and seem to be landing the young defender Kim Ji-soo, which leaves one obvious position that needs investment, and that is striker. Brentford are going to be without Ivan Toney for the majority of this season, which will be a massive blow, and they are going to need someone to hold down the fort during that time, but someone who isn't going to cost them an absolute bomb, as likelihood is they will be benched when Toney is back. They have been rumoured with Brennan Johnson, but he'd be extortionate, so I've gone for Gyökeres from Coventry. He has just had a brilliant season in the Championship, scoring 21 goals and grabbing 10 assists for a team who made it to the playoff final. He could be a risk as he has never played in the Premier League, but I think Brentford have enough about them to be able to take that risk and not worry whether it will drop them too far down the league table. Brighton, Mohamed Kudus. Brighton have made a couple of shrewd free signings in their central midfield already in Milner and Dahoud to cover for the loss of McAllister and the likely loss of Caicedo. But I do think an attacking midfielder will be a very nice addition to the team and help cover those losses more so. Kudus won't come cheap, but they are going to have money to play with, and as I've just mentioned, Milner and Dahoud are coming in on a free, so why not make a star signing in Kudus? Breakout season for him in Eredivisie. He looks to be a real talent and has plenty of suitors throughout Europe trying to grab his signature. With European football secured for Brighton next season, I think they have enough pull to bring him in, and what a signing it will be. Burnley, Nathan Tella. Looking at the first of the new boys this season, and I've gone with a rumoured attacking reinforcement. I think they do need an out-and-out striker, with Habib Diallo being my personal choice for them. But who I think they definitely should sign from their rumoured transfers is Teller. The man was top goal scorer for them last season from a wing position, and apparently he will only cost 15 million, which isn't a lot for the return of last season's star player. There is the question of whether Teller will be able to replicate the same sort of performances in the Prem, but at least he does know the club already and he has more chance than anyone else of hitting the ground running. Chelsea, Robert Sanchez. Chelsea have already started the summer by signing Nkunku, and they look to be confirming the signing of Nicholas Jackson any day now, but I think it is the other end of the pitch which should be the next priority. They will never return to the usual Chelsea form if they do not bring in a top level goalkeeper. Robert Sanchez has been rumoured, and I actually said earlier in the season that they should get him in. My opinion hasn't changed. He would be expensive, there is no doubt, but he would be worth it. Fantastic goalkeeper who only seems to be getting better. He's still pretty young and will be a major signing for this Chelsea squad. Crystal Palace, Lewis Hall. Crystal Palace have a few positions on the pitch which are going to need reinforcing this summer, and one of the big ones is in the fullback positions. Lewis Hall is heavily being linked with a move to Palace, likely on loan, and I think that will be ideal. They are probably going to be spending a bit of money, so if they can bring in a player of Hall's quality to boost the squad whilst they invest in other positions, it would be great business. A loan transfer isn't always the most exciting, but this one would be the smartest move for Palace to make. Everton, Rodrigo. Reading Everton's transfer rumours was quite depressing. Some of the suggestions for a team this big is a troubling indictment of their current situation. Surviving by the skin of their teeth for 2 seasons on the bounce, they need to make big improvements to the team, but their cash-strapped pockets are not going to help situations. With that in mind, this rumour does interest me, and considering their money problems, I think this would be the best move. Everton are in desperate need of a striker, and I am seeing Rodrigo's name being bandied about. He scored 13 goals in the league last season, which is nearly double the output of Dwight McNeil. They can't be relying on a winger who has sported a 0.19 goals per match ratio last season to be their top goal scorer. Rumour has it that Rodrigo has a relegation clause allowing him to leave Leeds for as little as £3 million. That would be an absolute snip and would be ideal for a team like Everton. Fulham, James Ward-Prowse. Fulham will be extremely lucky to hold on to Palhinha this season, which means they will likely need a replacement for him. Ward-Prowse will be a fantastic transfer. Although he won't be cheap at all and he might be out of Fulham's budget, they should have a better chance of getting him in because they would be able to get him in for a lot cheaper now that he is coming from the Championship. To bring in a leader and a player of that quality would be fantastic for this Fulham team, and it's a move I think they should go hell for leather to try and make happen. Liverpool, Kefa and Thuram. After losing Keita, Ox and Milner on free transfers this season and the advancing years of Hendo, Thiago and Fabinho, Liverpool desperately need to make at least another couple of central midfield reinforcements in my eyes. McAllister was the first signing and Thuram is the next one to be most heavily linked, which I think will be the best signing to bring in. He's only 22 years of age and looks to be a star for the future. And now. Tall, strong, powerful and fast, his play and physicality suits Klopp's system perfectly. His workman-like ethic would benefit this team massively, and his defensive qualities would help protect a defence that Fabinho struggled to do last season. Luton Town, Marvellous Nakamba. I was umming and ahhing between Nakamba and Ben Pearson. Some Luton fans might not be entirely excited by the rumour of Pearson because he got loaned out from Bournemouth last season, but I've seen a lot from his days at Preston North End and he is a very good player. I do think Ben Pearson would be a good signing. However, I have decided on a player who was on loan at Luton in the second half of last season and who had a big involvement in their promotion campaign. Nakamba has experience of the Premier League already, has experience of the team, and I think he will be a solid signing for them. Villa would probably let him go for next to nothing, which would be ideal for the team with the lowest budget in the league this season. Manchester City, Mateo Kovacic. This one looks to be pretty much done already, but I'm still picking it for this list as it is the best transfer they have been linked with so far. far. Losing Gundogan is a massive setback for this City side, and a quick replacement is necessary. I don't think Kovacic is exactly the same type of player as Gundogan, but he is a really good player nevertheless and would do a superb job for City. I'm surprised Chelsea are going to let him go. I know they need to balance the books, but Kovacic is easily one of their better players, which is why City are in for him in the first place. The rumoured 25 million would be very good business for a player of Kovacic's calibre. Manchester United, Andre Onana. With De Gea looking like he is leaving the club this summer, United will either have to rely on Dean Henderson or bring in a new player, the latter of which I think would be the better option. Onana is a brilliant goalkeeper who would suit this team down to a T. Excellent shot stopper and just as good with the ball at his feet. He is exactly what United have been calling out for over the past couple of seasons, and he is exactly the type of transfer that they should be making. Newcastle United, Sandro Tonali. When I first saw this news come up, I was very impressed. Tonali is a fantastic player who could play for any team in the world, so if Newcastle bring him in, it will be the biggest statement of their intention for next season. Bruno Gomes is already more defensive minded like Tonali, but I think the two of them together, with Joe Linton more advanced, would be an unreal midfield. Tonali would also bring so much experience to this team. It is incredible that he is only 23 years of age still. They should definitely keep pushing to make this happen. Nottingham Forest, Dean Henderson. I suggested they sign him in the Forest episode, and I am suggesting he'd be the best signing from their rumours this summer. Both Henderson and Navas were only on loan last season. They need a goalkeeper, and if they were going to bring one of those two back, the much more likely out of the two is Henderson. Although he did lose his place to Navas, he actually conceded 1 goal less and got 4 more clean sheets, having played 1 more game than Navas. He is the more likely out of the two to make their loan permanent, and for me, he's the better option. Sheffield United, James McAtee. Despite the rumour that City will reject any further loan offers for McAtee, I don't think that would be entirely true, and I think Sheffield United should look to get him in again. He was absolutely superb for them last season, being the difference maker in a lot of games, and they are going to miss him if they can't bring him back. I'm sure City will be open to loaning him back to Sheffield United to get Premier League experience, as they aren't going to give him many minutes themselves, are they? A good player and a good signing if they can make it happen. Spurs, James Maddison. As I've just gone to record this, the news had come out that they seem pretty close to making this signing, and I think it's the right one. This move would not be cheap, and if the rumour that Spurs tried to offer 50 million for Maddison and Barnes is true, then they are never going to make this transfer happen. So I'm sure they've sorted their act out now and stumping up the cash to bring Maddison in if the rumours are to be believed. He will be a fantastic addition to this squad and would improve on all of their other attacking midfield options. If they manage to keep hold of Kane, then the service that Maddison could provide to him and to Son would be frightening and should be enough to convince them to put the money up to greenlight this transfer. West Ham United, Dennis Zakaria. I am seeing names like João Paulinho or Ward-Prowse being linked as midfield options for the likely departure of Declan Rice, but they just don't seem realistic or likely. The money that they get for Rice is going to have to be spread across the squad, as there are a number of positions requiring improvement. They need to bring in a centre defensive mid, and the name that I think would be the best suited and most likely would be Zakaria. He didn't get a lot of game time for Chelsea last season, but he is a very solid player who at only 26 years of age still has his prime years ahead of him. Strong, fast, and wouldn't cost the world to bring him in. This will be a good signing for this team. Wolves, Moussa Dembele. Wolves have a big summer ahead of them. They need to make improvements to a number of positions, but they do also have financial troubles to worry about. The sale of Ruben Neves will alleviate that, and central midfield is probably the position they will look to reinforce first, but the rumours I'm seeing, the likes of Manu Kone, aren't cheap. Unless Wolves just plan to increase their financial troubles, they aren't going to make that sort of move. So I am going to look at a position which has received realistic suggestions for a transfer and is a position I actually think should be the priority, considering they scored the least amount of goals in the league last season. Dembele did have an off-season with Lyon in 2022 to 2023, but the season before he scored 21, and he has had a couple of other seasons in recent memory where he has recorded 16 and 15 goals in the league respectively. Wolves need more goals, and this is a player who is only 26 years of age, who has tons of experience in the Champions League, and who will be available on a free this summer. The player has quality, and if he finds the right form, he could be a major signing for Wolverhampton Wanderers. And there we have it, guys. That is who I think could be the best signing out of all of your transfer rumours. If you liked what you watched, please do remember to like, comment and subscribe, and let me know down below what you thought of my picks. And check me out across all my other socials. I'm on Twitch, which is where I do all of my streaming, Twitter, TikTok and Instagram, all under the same handle, Bolts96 for the O0. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next video.